107.7 WIVK. It's Joey and Nancy, and this is exciting. This is exciting. We've got the brand new voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, is hanging out with us. We thought you were calling and you've just walked in the door. Is that because you still had a key from 1998 when you worked in the same building, or?
They have not changed the locks.
I believe
which
that.
seems stunning.
I believe that.
Doesn't shock me.
Do you remember what your parking space was when you used to work
I
here?
parked in the back.
Did you?
Yeah.
We all have our little designated parking spots, but nobody else knows that they're designated unless you park there, and then we call you out for it.
Nice.
Like, you parked in my spot.
That's well played.
You don't have a spot.
But I brought you a gift. I brought you the limited time whoopie pie donuts from Dunkin'.
Yum.
And as you know, the Vol Network runs on Dunkin'.
What a wonderful employee you are.
Well, I wanted to show them that I was capable.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I think you're doing great.
So I used the Dunkin' app, which I've had for many years, to order your whoopie pie donuts, which you can get for a limited time at participating Dunkin'.
I suspect you just wanted donuts, is what.
No,
is what
they're
I'm
for you.
hearing. Well, thank
I
you.
got Carly one.
What are the stuff?
I got John Wilkerson one down the hall. I mean, I'm coming for everybody.
Let's talk about John Wilkerson.
Yes.
Y'all were roommates?
We were roommates. He had just gotten out of college, and I was still in college. We roomed together for 3 years.
Wow.
I lived with John until I got married.
He is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
No,
was
no,
he
he's
nice
really not.
back then?
He's a fraud.
Was he wild?
No, John is the best. We've stayed friends ever since, and I'm so proud of John and what he's been able to do. He took really good care of me when I was young because he's a little bit older and he kind of knew how to do some stuff, and I wasn't as responsible. I will always be appreciative. And one of the things that I told the people at the University of Tennessee when we were talking about this job is I said, one thing that has to happen is John has to continue to do baseball. I said, that is a condition of what we're doing because John is so good.
He's so good.
And I said, we've got to make sure John keeps doing baseball because Tennessee fans love him so much. And if it works, why would you change it?
Exactly.
Man, I want a friend like you.
We got a donut. Joey, you got a donut.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
from Dunkin', Vol Network sponsor. So, I mean.
Well, you've got great things to say about John Wilkerson for now because he wanted me to ask you, has anybody called you Spike lately?
No. No,
Can
they
we
haven't.
call you Spike?
Do you want to explain where the
Well,
name
when
Spike
I was a
came from?
sophomore in college, I was a top 40 disc jockey.
Ooh.
CHR, whatever they call
Top
it.
40, yeah.
The hits.
Yeah.
And yes, that was what they called me on the radio.
Dare we ask what year that was?
Yes, that would have been 1987, 88.
Okay, so if I asked you to ramp up a Bangles song,
Yeah, I could do a Bangles song.
you could do
Yeah.
a little Manic Monday.
Manic Monday, that's a little late. I think it would be Hazy Shade of Winter.
Yeah.
From Less
Okay.
Than Zero.
A lot of selections from Michael Jackson's Bad album.
Yes.
Would have probably been played at that
Yes,
time.
there was a lot of Bad at that. There was a lot of Steve Winwood.
Yes.
Joey is a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Is that
by the way.
right?
Incredible.
Huge.
Well, that fits in on Wivik well. Good job.
We're hanging out with Mike Keith, the new voice for the Vols, and we've run out of time, it turns
Yeah,
out.
whoa.
And
Come on, man.
He's already, man, this is exciting. I don't know where to begin. In the elevator amount of time you have to tell us, how did this come together? You getting the call? Do you fill out an application to become the voice of the Vols? I'm serious. How does it work?
Well, we had spoken. They had called me, sort of in the process. And I had a season to finish in Nashville. And so we kind of, took things relatively slowly based on what the pace was. And then when we got to the end, I knew that I wanted the job, and they had been fantastic throughout the process. They didn't play games or say, well, would you if you do this, or would you? They just said, here's what we want. And they said, what do you think? And I was like, wow, you really want to know what I think?
There you go.
Okay, immediately you've won me over. And they said, no, tell us what you think about how everything would fit together. And I said, well, from my experience, X, Y, Z. And they said, well, that's what we think too. So that part was really very simple. And then you've got the legal, got the lawyers have to have a conversation, and that wasn't hard. And they were just great. And so at the point that we got to the end of our season and everything was finished with the Titans, I felt like I could walk away and not leave them in the lurch.
Right.
I felt like we had completed everything we had to do. And the timing is good for them because they've obviously got a very important offseason with the first pick in the NFL draft. And we've got a lot of important things that we need to do over here to get started because Bob has done such a good job for so many years. I have so much to get up to speed on. And so it's going to take this long in the process. And so I got here Monday.
How does it feel to be only like the fourth or fifth person to ever have this job?
Well, my answer to that is probably corny because I knew Lindsey Nelson a little bit. You didn't really know Lindsey Nelson because when he had moved back to Knoxville, my cousin was his doctor. And so we had that connection in that way. And I got to talk with him, and he was already this legendary figure. I knew George Mooney because he owned radio stations in the region, and he was just the most wonderful man who was a very underrated announcer. I worked for John Ward. Bob Kessling helped to bring me along. And so for me to come from that group and to be the fifth one, I get corny about it. I get emotional about it because it feels like you're carrying on the family business.
Yes.
It's like you're taking over for your uncle or for your granddad or for where it started with your dad or whatever. And that's an incredibly good feeling because the Vol Network and the brand of the Vol Network is like nothing else in sports. And the T is like nothing else in sports.
How do you think Bob Kessling will react to you just calling him your granddad?
Oh.
So why did you do that? Why did you go there? Why did you get literal on me? No donut for you.
You haven't known me long enough.
Yeah, that would kind of hurt.
I'm just kidding.
Bob would probably be the uncle.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob. Because he gave me a lot of chances early on when I was a college student. As a matter of fact, they played the first clip from Vol Calls from September 11th, 1989.
Oh, wow.
And that was Bob and I did Vol Calls.
Yeah.
The first one. And it was on my 22nd birthday.
Oh.
I was 22 when that show first aired.
Dang.
Yeah, and John Ward hired you at 19?
At 19.
You've been doing this for a long time. I was looking at, your resume.
Are you calling me granddad now?
No, would never. I would never. I want a donut. I would never. But I was looking, 26 years announcing for the Titans.
Yeah.
That, for a lot of folks, is the career. That's it. Done. Retired. And now you're going to take on a job, right? And let's be honest, that people stay in this gig for a long time.
Sure they do.
Kessling, what,
26 years.
Right? Yeah. So is in your head, is this it? This is the one we're going to hopefully wrap with.
I want to do through year 100 with the Vol Network. So we're starting year 76, and I want to do 25 years minimum.
That's awesome.
Because, listen, it ain't hard. It's just talking. Let's face it. It's not like you're doing physical labor.
This is epic for you to be able to return home and
the whole thing.
And how has Knoxville changed for you since you were here before?
Oh gosh,
it's a totally different city,
it's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that part of the process is incredibly bizarre because things that I remembered, I've tried to go a couple places in the last few days, like, oh, wait a minute, that's not there anymore.
No.
Or there's a bridge or there's a street or I know where this building was. I was very thankful. Although I must admit I did allow extra time in case you can't get there the same way anymore.
Right.
So, that part of it has really been a lot of fun. And that's what Michelle and I are looking forward to the most because we met at Tennessee and we haven't lived here since 1998. And we're excited about coming back and delving into a place that we didn't want to leave in 1998. We were excited about the opportunity in Nashville, and it turned out well for me, and she got to do a lot of things over there, and we were with a lot of friends and family. But we loved it here.
Right.
She worked at UT Hospital in the NICU, and she had great friends, and I think that's special when you get to come back to a place that you loved while you lived there. And so that's hopefully going to be our experience. We're excited.
We're happy to have you.
Well, thank you.
We're talking about Keith. He's the new voice of the Vols, the lead play-by-play announcer for Tennessee's football and men's basketball games. We're going to take a break. We're going to come right back. He's going to hang out. I have 2 questions. I don't want you to answer right now, but I want to know, have you been practicing It's Football Time in Tennessee? And number 2, I want to know if we've got any new catchphrases on the way. You think, don't answer. Don't answer. We're coming right back on WIVK. 107.7 WIVK. It's Joey and Nancy. Mike Keith, the new voice of the Vols, brought us donuts. We like them already. Somebody referred to you as the most perfectly nice human being on the planet. Do people tell you that you're just really kind, and that do you get that a lot, or he
looks dumbfounded right now.
No, they said you're so kind. Is this because you were a roommate with John Wilkerson? Did he teach you this?
He did. He taught me kindness. I was very unkind before, and John got me straight. I hope so, because I'll tell you, in all seriousness, I will say I'm incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunities that I've had through the course of this business. And Bobby Denton was my radio father.
Yeah.
Bobby Denton was the person, the man who was the general manager here, and he took care of me, because when I was in my 20s, I was a lot. I was a whole lot. And Bobby would get me straight at different points. There were times he'd put his arm around me. There were times he would yell at me. There were times he would be in between. But, I mean, he did so much for me. And you talk about John Wilkerson and the people that have been so good to me here over the course of the years. Bob Kessling is another one. The folks at the Vol Network. Just a lot of friends, and then a lot of friends in Nashville who did the same thing. And I hope I've grown into that, and I hope I show being grateful through how I treat people, because I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity. This is – I'd heard the word surreal used before. I didn't really know what that was until this week.
Right. I get it.
To have people say, hey, you're going to be the voice of the Vols. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're like, no, it's happened. And it's fun. I'm going to enjoy getting to know everybody and having a chance to spend time with everything. I'm going to enjoy every single day, and I'm going to give it all I got. That's all you can do is to go hard. And that was what we did in Nashville, and that's what we're going to do here.
One of the most important parts of the job is the very famous catchphrase, "It's football time in Tennessee." I want you to be as honest as possible,
Bobby
Mike
Denton's
Keith.
own, by the way.
I want you to be honest with us. Have you looked in the mirror or the rear view mirror and practiced it? Go ahead.
I have not.
Really?
No.
Really?
I can tell you what I am practicing 50 times a day.
Oh, I know what it is.
Iamaliava.
I knew it.
Iamaliava.
You could train Nancy on that one. That's a tough one.
I'm good.
Iamaliava. Yeah, I'm walking down the hall at the Lawson Center on campus. Iamaliava. 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 And I just know Nico's going to walk by and say, what? Yes? What?
It's a fun name once you get it, though.
Well, I've had some challenges with names. My first year in professional football, the Steelers had a running back by the name of Chris Fuamaiafala.
Ooh.
Now, that's really hard because it's the hyphenated and it's even longer. But so you have to kind of work through them.
Yeah.
And you basically have to hear them and say them over and over again, because you can't look at them phonetically and go, oh, that's it. So my charts are pretty funny because I spell things out as they sound, because we're talking on the radio.
Yeah.
It's not a spelling test. And when, like, college broadcasters would come in the booth, we would be thrilled to meet them. They would look at my charts and they would go, you got this spelled wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, no kidding.
This is not how Chris Fuamaiafala spells his name. I'm like, thank you. Yes, that's true. But
But it's how I pronounce it.
yeah, that's just.
I
I just
do the
want
same thing because I pronounced Nico's last name Lamaliva forever.
Lamaliva?
Lamaliva.
Lamaliva. Yeah.
I don't know why, but but I got it. Iamaliava.
All right.
Iamaliava.
We're good.
Iamaliava.
Hey, good job.
Iamaliava.
That's it. It's like Rosetta Stone. You know, you just
Yeah,
got to
that's
say
exactly
it over
right.
and over and over.
I've got it in my ear, and well, because I'm so excited to call the season that he wins the Heisman Trophy. So
Look at that. Look at that.
how about
Yeah.
that?
New
How
voice
about
of the
that?
Vols. Mike Keith is here.
Speak it into existence.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you hopped
Iamaliava.
on board at a really good time, by the way.
Yeah, that's why I did.
I
it.
mean-
I was like, well, you're winning, so I'm coming. Yeah.
So we were just talking about catchphrases.
Sure.
I've got a few new ones.
Oh, good. Good.
That I've come up with the help of AI.
And I can use them?
You are welcome to them, but I wanted to get your feedback
Oh,
on
good.
them.
Okay.
Nancy's not heard these.
Oh, great.
I'm
I
terrified
want you to
of
know
these.
that I spent at least 60 seconds on these. Okay,
Good.
total. All right, in no particular order. And you can use these in your first season as the voice of the Vols. You ready?
Beautiful.
Vols charge, take the yard.
Ooh, well, that's a saying.
You like it?
It's a lot of words.
It's a
All
lot
right,
of
here
words.
we go. Here we go. Rocky Top, never stop.
I like that one.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not writing any of these down.
No,
I've
no, I'm
noticed.
committing them to memory.
All right, here we
Yeah.
go. Vols on fire, never tire.
Oh, Lord.
See, let me ask you a quick question, Joey. What's
done.
with the rhyme thing?
That's all I know.
Blame
how to
AI.
do is
Blame
rhyme.
AI.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Last
All right,
one.
great.
And it rhymes. Vols unite, orange and white.
Oh, my God.
That sounds like a cheer from 1914.
Here we go.
You
I
know,
got-
when they had
here we
that-
go. Here we go.
Get me to the cheer
Here
team joke.
comes the orange crush.
So you can't use that.
Why?
That's the whole Denver thing.
Dang it.
And here's
And
what.
Orange Crush is a drink.
That's right, but
Yeah.
but the Denver Broncos claimed that in 1977, and what's really interesting about that is that they offered it first to the University of Tennessee. They said, "Hey," and they turned it down. And the Broncos ended up using it. They had the Orange Crush defense, so that is something
All
that's
right.
used. But
All right, one more. One
Okay.
more, Mike.
Oh,
Are
gosh.
you Rocky Top ready?
Again, I think these might be better suited for the cheer team
Okay.
or the pep squad instead of Mr.
from
Keith over here
1914,
The new.
with skirts down to their
yeah,
ankles.
that's the
I'm
Bobby
hot.
socks
I just
and
got
the whole
hot
thing.
in
Yeah.
here
Right.
because I've embarrassed myself in front of
I
the
don't
new
think you have.
voice of the
I think
Vols.
you gave it a good try.
I did. Well, there's a reason
old
you got
Rocky
the
Top
job.
try.
The old Rocky Top. The old Rocky
good,
Top
Nancy.
try.
Well played.
Mike Keith, new voice of the Vols. Man, we are excited. And by the way, you have lived and breathed Tennessee football and Tennessee sports your entire life. So what a serendipitous thing for you and surreal, and we're very happy for you.
Thank you very much. It's
Welcome home.
It's great to be home, and everyone has been wonderful. It's great to be back at WIVK. I sat in one of the other rooms and hosted the scoreboard shows and different things for John Ward through the course of the years in the 90s, and worked on Bearden Hill.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was at the Bearden Hill location from 1987 through 1996 and did things there, and it's family to me.
I
And
think we've gotten new floors since you came last time.
It looks
probably.
great.
Yeah, that's about all.
It looks
Changed.
it looks absolute to me it looks like home. So that's a good thing.
Good.
All right, Mike Keith, thanks for coming in, pal.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.